the Vantrue into Pro setup. This is an excellent camera, and this is the front view of the camera that will look out the front of the car, and this is the rear view of the camera, which records the interior and provides you with the menu screen. Now, the quick start guide is interesting because it gives you some information about the memory card, which means it takes a 32 gig memory card. However, you can put a 64 gig memory card in it and format it if you format the 64 gig card first on a computer to FAT32. So we'll show that later in the video, that we are able to format FAT32 and then reformat the card inside the camera. Now, an interesting note here is that the quick start guide also shows that the camera uses the suction cup base. It has a charging port there, a connection port there, and as well as a connection port on the camera. But if you plug it into the camera, you get the option of turning the camera on or going into storage mode. Storage mode is what you'll use to transfer your files to the computer. But the problem here is that it says it won't charge unless you turn the unit on when it's connected to the computer. So you get two choices: mass storage and being on. But it will charge if you're connected to the suction base. The camera can be turned off, but it will charge. Now, it says it's indicated on the OK button by a red flashing light. That's something I never saw. So now let's get into the actual menus. So we turn on the power, and when the unit starts up, it automatically goes into recording. So if you try to push the menu button, nothing will happen. But you see the red dot flashing. That's telling you that you are recording, and so it will not go into menu. So what you have to do is press the OK button to stop the recording and put it in standby, and you see the icon of the little camera. So now when you press the menu button, you will go into menus. And the different menus that we have is record setup, system setup, GPS setup, and files. So you have 4 different areas to navigate. So we'll start with record setup. We press OK to enter, and now we use the up and down arrow buttons to navigate to the various menus. The M button, or the menu button, we'll use as a back button. So here we have resolution, and it's currently set to 1080, 1080. That's for both cameras. Loop recording, we have that set to 5 minutes. And when you press enter, it confirms and exits from that sub-menu. So you don't have to use the back button. G-sensor is set to medium, and that's factory. Audio recording is set to on. Parking mode is off because I won't have continuous power. Exposure is set to normal or 0. You can set it to other exposures. Number plate, and here I've just entered the word Honda, but you can have your license plate or your driver's license. You have some options there. Next is the stamp. Do you want the video to have date and time, logo? I have logo turned off. And logo, it says Vantrue in the video. It's easy to turn on, it just toggles. A number stamp is the Honda that I had put in, speed, and GPS information. Rotate display is off because the camera will be placed in the car normally. Time lapse is off because we're not looking to time lapse. And we do want to power off the display. Power off delay is set. So that's record setup. Now we'll go to system setup. We scroll to language, English. Format, do we want to format the car? Not at this point. Date and time, just scroll through and set your date and time. The LCD is set to 3 minutes to turn itself off. I later set that to 1 minute. And sound was off, but I turned it on, and it just makes a clicking sound as you go through the menus. And will it power down when it's not using? 60 hertz for USA. And this is the firmware version, which at this time it's up to date. Now for GPS setup, if you have the GPS suction, you would turn that on, and I have that already mounted in my car. And then units of speed is set to miles per hour because I'm in the USA. And that's really all there is to these menus. You go into files, you have 3 folders. You have event, which is not going to delete. Whatever's in there will stay. If you press the picture button or the panic button, it will take that event and move it in, or take that video and move it to the event folder so it won't get deleted. The normal folder is where files are rotated out. As they age, if the memory card gets full, they will age and delete as needed for space. But event will not delete. And then photos when you press the P button. Now there is a couple files here, and you just push enter and they will play, and you can hear the sound on the unit of the video playing. But I didn't see any settings for how to delete the file while it's in the unit. But I was able to move the files over to the computer and delete them from the computer. Now another handy thing about it is learning all of the little screen icons. Once you get knowledgeable of all of the screen icons, the use of the unit gets a lot easier. And a good way to do that is to look in the manual. There's a really good picture that shows what everything means. And this is, you just go all the way around the screen and you'll see some of the various icons and what they mean. Now the clip, when you slide that clip together, sometimes it doesn't click. And you want to make sure it clicks firmly. When it's in the car, you have to get used to pushing up on it and not touching that lens. You do not want a big oil finger mark on that lens when it's in your automobile. And it's very positive the way it clicks. This was a drawback that I discovered, and that is that the lens protrudes. So when you're laying the unit down, After you've brought it in the house to move files off of it, you have to be very careful not to scratch the lens. It would have been nice to have a lens cover here, but it's still quite impressive. It's easy to get fingerprints on everything. This is the USB connection. Now this lens is slightly receded. There's your buttons on the bottom, and your power button toggles. If you quickly press it while the unit is operating, you can toggle between 3 settings, and that is the automatic infrared lighting can be set to off, forced off, automatic based on day and night, or forced on, so it's always on. As you can see, I'm already starting to get some light fingerprints on the unit. Now here we are at the computer, and the attempt here is we'll format a 64 gigabyte card to FAT32. So it's set to EXFAT, not NTFS. We're changing that to EXFAT, and we want to set the value at 32. So we bring down this menu and go to 32, and then we fast format the card. Once you fast format the card, you're now ready to put the card into the camera and bring the camera up and format it. It doesn't recognize the card initially, but then when it does, it says please format the card. So when that clears, you press your menu button, and you want to scroll to System Setup, press OK, scroll down to Format, and you want to say OK. OK, press Enter, and the format was successful. So now you have a 64 gigabyte card formatted for the unit. Now mass storage. The USB has been plugged into the actual camera, and you see the 2 options you get when you're powered off the computer. When you choose mass storage, this is the screen you'll see, and your computer window will open, and once you open the unit and look at it, you'll see that you do have 59 gigs free. This is showing the camera. Once it's powered up, you can see the files, and you can see here that 59 gigabytes is available. There's actually a file or so on there. That's because it automatically starts recording. You have to hit OK to stop the recording in order to access the menu. So the Vantrue N2 Pro is an excellent camera, and if there was anything I would change about it, it would be two things. Number one, I would put Wi-Fi on it so that when you pull into your driveway, if you're close enough to your Wi-Fi at your home, you can download your files without taking it out of your car. The other thing that I would change is to put lens covers on these lenses so that when you do have to take the unit in your house, assuming it doesn't have Wi-Fi, you'll be able to carry it around, move it without getting a lot of fingerprints on the lenses. Other than that, the picture quality, everything is just excellent, and I'm very pleased with the unit, and I hope to get many hours of use out of it, and I hope you was able to benefit from seeing the menus up close and get an idea of how this unit functions. Thanks for watching.